Hi everyone, I hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going to XRP once again. Thank you for your support. Okay, big the CoinsKid crew. So remember, the 5-wave counter is boss, and this is another example of it. And we've traded 5-wave counters on XRP, I think 3 times on the macro since I've been making these videos for you. For anyone that's been tuning in all these years, we see 5-wave down, we're all in basically. And this is the same thing that happened from BNB. Way back when, on the 14th of October 2023, I did present CoinsKid crew with an amazing opportunity, a buy zone at $206 for BNB. So we'll take a look at the chart right now, because you can clearly see the BNB, this 5-wave counter in October 2023, was your 1 into your 2 into your waterfall, 3 into your 4 into your 5. It was a classic bumper run pattern. You broke out, you back test, see you later. So in the future, this is what you're looking for. You're looking for some kind of ABC zigzag correction. Usually the A comes down in a 3-wave move, the B comes up in a 3-wave move, and then the classic zigzag of an ABC zigzag correction comes down in a 1, 2, waterfall 3 to lose the support, comes up in a 4, and a final 5th wave down. You see something like that on the macro, it's a massive opportunity. And I remember relaying that, and there was lots of naysayers and negativity at that time as well. But BNB's done incredibly well. Look at it right now in price discovery. So why am I looking at BNB? Well, I think this is part of the confluence that we may see BNB at the 1.272, around about $1,000 before some kind of correction and pullback in this market. So if you are late to the party and you are looking to long, the market right now because of FOMO, because you're seeing it going up and things like that, then you're doing it wrong. And this is something I've always taught you in the channel. Okay, always long a 5-wave move to the downside, and always basically short a 5-wave move to the upside. Okay, 5 waves up, go short, make money. 5 waves down, go long, make money. Okay, in this space, especially on the macro, if you can identify that. So again, golden opportunity, and we've had many of these golden opportunities on XRP as well, for anyone that's been paying attention, and equally Bitcoin. In the Bitcoin updates, we've traded a massive macro bump and run, and I think 2 micro bump and runs, C-wave ending correction basically, since I've been making these videos for you the past few years basically. So always opportunities against herd mentality, and it's just at the time I just relay the data to you. So at some point, I do think that this will come in, but until the day it has a whopping correction, I'm just kicking back and enjoying this. But I think there's a little bit of confidence to see a little bit more upside in this market, and then keep an eye on the BNB chart, because if it hits the 1.272 at $1,009, does it incur some kind of correction back into this range of an ascending triangle where you got a 3rd point resistance breakout, you're coming up, back test, see you later continuation. So we'll keep an eye on BNB, because once it hits that, it may be a confluence. Okay, we may experience some kind of pullback in the charts right there. So let's dive into the data right now that I think is showing us that this market is not as cooked as people think, and this is why I'm actually holding on to my XRP bags, and I'm not looking to sell them until we see the data stack up right now. But this has been a lovely little trade for anyone paying attention, and this is the the content that I provide in the Discord. So definitely get involved in that Elite Crew Discord. Okay, let's dive into the data right now. So this is a key indicator I'm keeping an eye on for you, because at the moment we're not necessarily seeing the dumb money show up again. Okay, and I think that's one of the key points that we need to pay attention to in the data is, once dumb money shows up to this market once more, then obviously, we need to think about a position in crypto. It began to show up in July. I was on holiday at the time, so I couldn't relay this data to you. But again, you can come to the indicators on CoinsKid.com, come down to the dumb money indicator, and you can see it's pretty accurate. Every time we have these spikes to the downside where dumb money is beginning to show up, you do begin to see some kind of pullback in the market. And I think, at that time, basically when this came up, we saw a pullback in XRP. It made that basically rug pull, made a lower high, and right now may have bottomed. Okay, it may have bottomed in, I think, late August, early September, but at the moment it's lagging. It's not really putting in the moves that we're seeing from other coins. And the reason is, and like I said this to you, since I'm blue in the face, is it's because it's had its big move. It's just pure logic. Okay, so it's consolidating in a range, looking for that next leg, and it's in the process, it's going to shake people out, and this is exactly what it does. But I do think we've not seen the end of this move for XRP. I do think there's a final wave missing. Whether or not this move that we've gone through was the move, time will tell. But it's all about the structure and support. But one of the key data points I'm looking for, again, to jump up and down and say, hey guys, I'm taking it off the table here, is really simple, is the dumb money showing up in droves again. So they're not here right now. Okay, if you take a look, they're showing up in droves late last year, and I relayed this data to you. Everyone says, no way, you're an idiot. But then lo and behold, the crypto markets rolled over. We rolled over late last year, came up, made the higher high, which is basically a bull trap in Bitcoin and XRP. But many other coins didn't make that higher high. Okay, because I think there's bull trap in XRP and Bitcoin because of the exuberance basically. In time, I do think we'll see the blue line touch this red line again, and at that point I think that's max FOMO, max people thinking they're going to get rich, because again, dumb money is just showing up to the market typically late in fashion again. So we saw it in late 2021, dumb money showing up, and then we get the big macro get out of crypto card right there, okay? And this is something we've not seen in this particular cycle just yet. We saw it twice in April of 2021, then in May, which was your alt season, we saw it again, and we've not seen it. If we go back to the left, you've got your big macro get out of crypto card on this particular indicator that create for yourselves in late 2017. You know, you're getting pretty toppy at that previous cycle, and we've just not seen it at the moment, okay? So I'm patiently waiting for that, and I think that if it comes, I'll relay that data to you. But what you're looking for on this particular indicator is what we got in late 2021. You're looking for, you know, a maximum macro danger zone warning where you get your red bar in this particular chart, okay? Once we see that, you know, I'm out of the market, and I'll relay that to you in time. So please stay tuned for that, because I do think it's coming. I don't think we've seen maximum FOMO in this market so far, and this is why I do think, and I've been relaying it to you, you know, I do think there's some opportunities across the board in some of these altcoins that are under the radar, and we've been looking at them opportunities, and right now they're absolutely bolting. They're doing incredibly well, you know, to match basically XRP's move. So I know people get frustrated and angry, but you've got to remember XRP was, this time last year, it was down there around about 38 cents, and now it's floating above $3. Some of the coins are basically sideways from that range, so they're just playing catch up. It's just pure logic, okay? So let's dive into the XRP chart right now to see what we can see. But this is a dumb money indicator on CoinsKid.com. You can get that indicator, just go to the website, get involved. You've got all these lovely little indicators that create for yourselves, you know, going forward. So one thing at the moment, we are seeing a pump in the market, but we've got the Liquidity Dance, which has seen an uptick yesterday. Typically, whenever we see the Liquidity Dance spiking up, it is, you know, not necessarily time to be buying crypto. This is why I think we've got a bit of risk here. If you're jumping into longs, especially for XRP, you may be doing it wrong, because we're seeing a spike up in Liquidity Dance, which basically means risk off, okay? Basically risk off. For the past couple of days, we are seeing that tick into the Liquidity Dance, which usually indicates when you see a bit of an uptick, you do begin some kind of pullback. So this may be a little bit of confidence that over the next few days, leading to the next week or so, we may be experiencing some kind of pullback. And one of the key things I'm looking at, obviously, is the LD, Liquidity Dance, spiking up, and obviously with the BNB hitting that 1.272 fib right there. So keep an eye on that target for the BNB chart. Let's dive into the XRP chart, see what we can see, okay? So looking at XRP on the daily time frame at the moment, it's a little bit lackluster, isn't it? It's not really doing much, but we're seeing other coins, you know, do pretty well. So I just think that them coins are just catching XRP up. But this is where we have to apply a little bit of caution with XRP, because if we take a look at the moment, we've not really come into this range here, okay? And if you take a look from this move here, we came into the range quite quickly just there, and from this move here, we came into this previous pivot low, pivot high, sorry, where we see the flush to the downside. We came into it quite quickly, and XRP is not necessarily come into this range just yet, okay? So this is a key range that I'm looking at for XRP. That was your key range just there, and that was your key range just there as well. So sometimes just looking at the ranges before the drop give you an identifier for the potential pop. So basically, if you take a look at this move here for XRP, from this low, it came up quite quickly into the previous range, so we can measure that. So from this bottom into that range, it come up within a matter of days, like basically, what was that, 7 days, it come up 35%. And then from this next range, when this bottom down here come up into this next range, it took roughly 8 days to come up 22%. So currently from this low, we are roughly, what are we, 11 days in, and we've come up 11%. So we're not even in the, you know, the range of the previous drop at the moment, which is basically another 4% away. So currently XRP is on day, what is that, day 10, and it's up 11%. So we're already seeing that, you know, potentially this move here was very powerful, then this move here was quite powerful, and this move is running out of steam. The proof is in the pudding that, you know, you got a big move, less of a move, and even less of a move. So you're sort of running out of steam right now for XRPs, which indicates to me, okay, you've got quite a nice move there, a nice move there. So this next move should, in theory, if this is the bottom, it should sort of run out of steam, and you've got some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 kind of final fifth wave to the upside that's running out of steam right here before a big pullback. So sometimes just looking at the lows, you can identify, you know, the potential scenario going forward. So we need to keep an eye on that. If XRP can rally today and get us out of that low resistance and come up another 3 or 4% into that range around about 308, then okay, you know, got increased probability, okay, you are making a bit of a move here for XRP off this low, but currently it's a little bit lackluster. It's a little bit, you know, not really doing much. So if we move to the left, This was a beautiful low here that we were looking at, and again we got this counter in 1 2 3 4 5s, 1 2 3 4 5 waves to the downside. This is a beautiful move, and one of the key things I was looking at is basically, if you take a look at the ferociousness of this move, it was up into the previous range very quickly, okay, because it was a very, very powerful move. And this is one of the confluencing factors at the time. Once you saw the 1 into the pullback 2 into the 3 into the 4 into the 5, I think it was August last year, I said to you, I think this is the proof in the pudding, you know, that right now this is the start of a massive move here for XRP, because in a matter of basically 27 days XRP had come up 72%. And this was one of the biggest 5-wave moves we've seen for XRP after a 5-wave move to the downside. So like I said to you at the time, I think this is absolute concrete evidence. This is the bottom, and we're coiling up for a massive vertical for XRP, because the proof is in, you know, basically the first impulsive move right there off this low. So if we move to the left in 2022, I think it was, again, we're doing very similar thing. We come down in 5 waves, 1, 2, and then you got your 3, you caught up 4, and final 5th wave down. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, this move here was powerful, but it wasn't as powerful as the wave 3, basically. So from this low into this previous range, again, you come up into that range quite quickly, and then boom, you know, you come up in 48% within 22 days. So that was a beautiful 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave move. You got your flag coming back. It was the start of a lovely move to the upside, okay? So again, it's always key to pay attention to the start of the move off any low that you anticipate is a low. So again, this was a beautiful 72%. So this is why at the time I said to you, this is the first wave of a huge impulsive move, and this is a first wave of a massive impulsive move. And the proof is basically in the pudding of the first move within the start of the wave, basically. So right now, if this is the bottom of a ferocious wave to the upside, which is what a lot of people are anticipating, it's not really showing us that, if you understand what I'm talking about. So it's taking a little bit of time, it's lagging a little bit, which may indicate a couple of things. Either XRP is still caught in this correction, basically, and we're not seeing the ferocious move, it's still caught in this box in a correction in an ABC zigzag, or it really is that simple, it's run out of steam, and it's not going to go to, you know, your astronomical levels that people are looking at, like $8, $10, $20, whatever, because it's just basically run out of steam, okay, off these lows. So you've had a nice move up here, pullback, little move up here, pullback, and then boom, you know, you're coming up here, but you're not really seeing the big moves that you've seen off these key lows so far for XRP. So it could be an indication, okay, well, XRP is still in the correction, and what you're looking at is some time inside this box into this range here, we should start to see the biggest move here for XRP, where you come off the lows in a ferocious move, which indicates the bottom, basically, because at the moment we've not even come into the previous pivot range, so it's a little bit lackluster. So this is why I'm looking at other opportunities with you. A lot of people say I'm too bearish, too much, whatever, but I just look at the structure and the data with you. Again, the data is boss, remember that, data not emotion, okay? So at the moment it's doing okay, but what we've got to see is this range being broke, take that range out, and most importantly take the red line out. Okay, XRP is in price discovery. Where could it go to if this is the low? You know, and we're looking for more evidence of that. I'm looking at a minimal 398, 1414 at 416, and a 1.618 at 442. Now, if this was the start of a very powerful move to the upside, which is what a lot of people are anticipating, then in my opinion, it should have already, you know, come to fruition so far. And at the moment, it's a little bit lackluster. You know, it's nowhere near what that was or this was. So it could indicate, okay, we've seen a 1 into a pullback. We're seeing basically a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And right now we're seeing a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for XRP. And right now we're seeing some kind of 1 into a 2 into a 3, 4, 5 to the upside. You see what I mean about where it's running out of steam, okay? It's running out of steam. So this is why you want XRP to do something like this. Come back, because the greater you retrace, the greater the impulsive pace. If XRP comes back here and puts a massive move in off its low, some kind of capitulation like what we got there, then I think you've got a bigger appreciation ahead of you where you come up even more for XRP, okay? And that's basically it. That's simple technical analysis. Hope you understand the update. Stay up for 6 months, stay tuned.